In the complex flow of inner life, mental health is not simply the absence of negative emotions, but a fragile state of balance. When that balance is disrupted, many psychological disorders find the opportunity to form, turning a person's inner world into a maze of pain, fear, and strange experiences that outsiders can hardly comprehend. Recognizing and analyzing these disorders is not only a matter of medical knowledge, but also a doorway to empathy and sharing. 1. Depression. The silent killer. Depression is often mistaken for ordinary sadness. In reality, it is a perfect storm of paralysis. The person is not only sad, but also loses the ability to feel pleasure, a symptom called anhedonia. They feel trapped in a dark room with no way out, where energy is drained, sleep is disrupted, and thoughts of worthlessness and guilt spiral endlessly. The danger of depression lies in the fact that it can quietly erode the will to live, leading to self-destructive behaviors that those around them may not recognize until the consequences have already occurred. 2. Anxiety disorders, the stuck emergency brake. If ordinary worry is a useful warning mechanism, anxiety disorders are like an emergency brake that gets stuck. The brain's alarm system keeps ringing even when there is no real threat. In generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, the person lives in a constant state of worry about everyday issues. Panic disorder attacks with sudden, overwhelming waves of fear, accompanied by physical symptoms such as chest pain and shortness of breath, making the person feel as if they are about to die. Social anxiety disorder turns ordinary social situations into a courtroom where they constantly feel judged and ridiculed. 3. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, a wound from the past that never heals. PTSD is proof that the worst things do not always stay behind us. Trauma continues to live in the person's mind through vivid flashbacks, where they relive the event as if it is happening right now. An explosion, a scent, or a familiar sound can trigger extreme fear. They may become emotionally numb or easily startled and irritable, always in a state of hypervigilance, as if the threat is still lurking around them. 4. Bipolar disorder, the emotional roller coaster. Bipolar disorder is not simply moodiness. It is a ride on a roller coaster between two uncontrollable extremes. In the manic phase, the person is flooded with energy in an unrealistic way, excessively confident, talking fast, thinking non-stop, and often engaging in high-risk behaviors, reckless spending, gambling, unsafe sex. In contrast, the depressive phase pulls them down into a deep pit of despair and lack of energy. The danger lies especially in mania, when impulsive decisions can destroy their career, relationships, and finances in a very short time. 5. Schizophrenia, the collapse of reality. This is perhaps one of the most complex disorders and the one that causes the most severe functional impairment. Schizophrenia blurs the line between reality and illusion. The person faces hallucinations, often hearing critical or commanding voices, and delusions, fixed false beliefs that do not fit cultural norms and cannot be explained away by logic. They may believe they are a great figure, grandiose delusion, or that some force is controlling their thoughts and actions, delusion of control. The world becomes frightening and incomprehensible, causing them to withdraw and gradually lose their ability to function socially. 6. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, the prison of the mind. OCD is often compared to a stuck brain. It has two parts: obsessions, unwanted thoughts, images, or urges that intrude repeatedly and cause intense anxiety. For example, obsessions about germs, symmetry, or the fear of harming others. Compulsions, repetitive behaviors or mental acts that the person feels driven to perform in order to neutralize the anxiety from the obsessions. For example, washing hands for hours, checking the gas many times, counting. This obsession-compulsion loop consumes time and energy, turning life into a chain of obligatory rituals just to get through the day. 7. Eating disorders, the battle with self-image. These are deadly disorders with the highest mortality rates among mental illnesses. They are not about normal dieting, but an internal war with body and mind. Anorexia. Nervosa, marked by a distorted body image, always feeling fat even when extremely thin, and an intense fear of gaining weight, leading to self-starvation. Bulimia nervosa, a secret cycle of binge eating, a huge amount of food in a short time, followed by purging behaviors such as vomiting, using laxatives, or excessive exercise to compensate. Both cause serious, long-term damage to the entire body. 8. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD, a crisis in the executive system. ADHD goes far beyond the image of a hyperactive child. At its core, it is a weakening of the brain's executive functions, the part that acts as the commander-in-chief. People with ADHD struggle with attention, easily distracted by both external and internal stimuli, behavior control, acting impulsively without thinking through the consequences, time management and organization, difficulty planning, organizing tasks, and being on time. Interestingly, they can also fall into hyperfocus on things they truly love, showing just how complex this disorder is. 9. Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD, a different neural operating system. Autism is not a disease that needs to be cured, but a different way for the brain to exist. Autistic individuals have a nervous system that is wired and processes information in its own way. This leads to difficulties in communication and social interaction, trouble understanding unspoken rules, body language, or how to start a conversation, restricted, repetitive behaviors and interests. This might be an intense focus on a narrow topic or a strong need for absolute routine. They suffer greatly when routines are disrupted. Atypical sensory sensitivity. They may feel overwhelmed by light, sound, or smells that others find normal. 10. Other disorders, from sleep to cognition. Sleep disorders. Sleep is the foundation of mental health. Insomnia, sleep apnea, or oversleeping can be both a cause and a consequence of other disorders, creating a pathological spiral. Paranoia, a profound loss of trust in the world. The person lives in suspicion and fear that others are trying to harm them, which keeps them constantly on guard and gradually isolates them. Dyslexia, a specific challenge in learning that stems from differences in how the brain processes language. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Many people with dyslexia possess extraordinary spatial and creative thinking. Conclusion. More than 300 million people worldwide live with anxiety disorders, and nearly 280 million with depression. These numbers are not just cold statistics. They are a reminder that mental health is part of being human. Understanding these disorders helps us break stigma, replace judgmental looks with empathy, and most importantly, encourage those who are silently suffering to seek professional help. In this complex parallel world, timely and appropriate support is the lighthouse that guides people back to a calmer shore.